Ever wondered how our ancestors managed to keep their food from spoiling before the advent of refrigeration? It's a question that's as old as time itself. The art of food preservation has been a cornerstone of human survival, shaping cultures, societies, and civilizations. From the ancient Egyptians preserving their bounty for the afterlife to the sailors of old warding off scurvy with pickled foods on their treacherous sea voyages, food preservation is a testament to human ingenuity. Fast forward to the present day, and we still rely heavily on these age-old techniques, albeit with a modern twist. Whether you're an adventurer packing for a long trek, preparing for unforeseen circumstances, or simply a food enthusiast exploring new culinary horizons, understanding food preservation can open up a world of possibilities. In this video, we'll delve into the various methods of food preservation, examining their pros and cons. Buckle up, it's going to be a delicious ride. Freeze drying, the space-age method of food preservation, has been gaining popularity in recent years. So what exactly is freeze drying, and why is it becoming a go-to option for food storage? Also known as lyophilization, freeze drying is a process that removes moisture from food, leaving it in a state that can last for an incredibly long time. First, the food is frozen solid. Then it's placed under a vacuum, which allows the water in it to skip the liquid phase and go straight from solid to gas. What's left is a lightweight, dry version of the original food that can be stored for years without refrigeration. Now, there are two ways you can go about freeze drying: owning your own freeze dryer or buying prepared freeze-dried meals, snacks, and raw ingredients. Owning a freeze dryer gives you complete control over the process, and you can preserve your favorite meals exactly the way you like them. This includes the ability to use organic ingredients and know exactly what's in your food. You can also freeze dry food that may not be available on the market. On the other hand, buying prepared freeze-dried food is a convenient option, especially for those who may not have the time or space for a freeze dryer at home. There are several advantages to freeze drying. First, it has an exceptionally long shelf life. We're talking decades here. Second, it manages to retain almost all of the nutritional value of the food, unlike some other preservation methods. Third, freeze-dried food is incredibly lightweight, which makes it a great option for backpacking or emergency preparedness. However, it's not all rosy. The main drawback of freeze drying is the cost. Freeze dryers are a substantial investment, and prepared freeze-dried food can also be more expensive than fresh or traditionally preserved food. Moreover, the process is quite time-consuming, taking anywhere from 24 to 48 hours per batch. So, while freeze drying might seem like a futuristic concept, it's a viable option for long-term food storage, especially if you're willing to make an investment. It's a fascinating method that marries technology with one of humanity's most basic needs: food preservation. Let's travel back in time a bit and explore some traditional methods of food preservation. These techniques are time-honored and have been practiced for centuries, if not millennia. Let's start with pickling. This method uses vinegar or brine to create an acidic environment where harmful bacteria can't thrive. It's a simple process you can easily do at home, and as a bonus, it can really enhance the flavor of your food. The downside? Well, it requires specific conditions, the right temperature and the right acidity, and there's always a potential for spoilage if not done correctly. Next, we have water bath canning. This involves placing food in jars and then boiling them in a water bath. The heat kills off bacteria, yeasts, and molds that could cause food to spoil. The jars form a vacuum seal as they cool, keeping out new microorganisms. This method is great for preserving high-acid foods like fruits, jams, jellies, and pickles, but it's not suitable for low-acid foods, which require a pressure canner to be safely preserved. Fermentation is another traditional method that not only preserves food, but also enhances its nutritional value by promoting the growth of beneficial bacteria. Think sauerkraut, kimchi, or kombucha. The process is simple, but it requires patience, as fermentation can take weeks or even months. One potential downside is that conditions have to be just right for the good bacteria to flourish and outcompete the harmful ones. Lastly, there's dry canning, also known as oven canning. This method involves heating jars of food in the oven to kill bacteria, then sealing them while hot. It's quite straightforward and can be used for a variety of dry foods, from flour to nuts. However, it's not recommended by some food safety experts due to the potential risk of jar breakage and uneven heating. These methods might seem old-fashioned, but they've stood the test of time for a reason. They're effective, often enhance the flavor of the food, and can be done at home with basic equipment. So, why not give them a try? When it comes to food preservation, sometimes it's all about adding flavor. And what better way to do so than by using methods like salting, curing, and smoking? These techniques have stood the test of time and continue to be a popular choice for many. Let's start with salting. This method involves using salt to draw out moisture from the food, creating an environment where bacteria can't survive. It's a simple technique that's been used for thousands of years and is particularly effective for preserving meats and fish. However, it does require a good understanding of the salt-to-food ratio to prevent oversalting. Next up is curing. This process involves treating food with a mixture of salt and nitrates or nitrites. This not only preserves the food, but also gives it a distinctive flavor and color. Think of your favorite cured meats like ham or bacon. But it's worth noting that this method requires a bit of skill, as incorrect curing can lead to health risks. Last, but certainly not least, is smoking. By exposing food to smoke from burning or smoldering material, usually wood, you not only preserve it, but also impart a unique, rich flavor. It's a favorite for preserving meats, fish, and even cheeses. However, this method does require specific equipment and a good understanding of the smoking process. Plus, there's ongoing debate about potential health risks associated with consuming smoked foods. So, what's the takeaway from all this? Well, salting, curing, and smoking offer a flavorful way to preserve your food. They're traditional methods that have been used for centuries, and they can be a great way to add a touch of gourmet to your food storage. But like all preservation methods, they do have their downsides. They require a certain level of skill and understanding, and there are potential health concerns to consider. Regardless, these methods not only preserve food, they also enhance its flavor, making them a favorite for many. Before we continue our exploration of modern preservation methods, let's reflect on our journey so far. From timeless techniques like smoking to modern freeze-drying, our shared knowledge of food preservation has grown. If you've been enjoying our content, please give us a thumbs up. Your feedback helps us reach larger audiences with our quality content. New here? Now's a great time to subscribe and tap the notification bell. By doing so, you'll stay in the know when we release new content. Your subscription supports our channel's growth, keeping you updated on our journey. Thank you for being part of our community, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video. Now on to the final method on the list today. In our modern world, new methods of food preservation have emerged. One of those methods that has gained popularity is dehydrating. This method involves removing the water content from food, which in turn inhibits the growth of bacteria, yeasts, and molds that spoil food. By reducing the moisture level in food, it can be preserved for an extended period, often for several years. Dehydrating is a relatively easy method to master. There are many types of food dehydrators on the market, from compact units suitable for small kitchens to larger models for those with more ambitious preservation goals. These machines work by circulating warm air around the food, slowly extracting the moisture. This process can take anywhere from a few hours to a full day, depending on the type of food and its water content. One of the major advantages of dehydrating is that it retains a high percentage of the nutritional value of the food. Unlike other preservation methods that can degrade vitamins and minerals, dehydrating preserves most nutrients, including up to 90% of the vitamin C content in fruits. However, there are a few downsides to consider. For one, dehydrating can change the texture of food. Fruits and vegetables can become chewy or crispy, and meats can take on a tough, jerky-like consistency. While this is not necessarily a problem, it's something to consider if texture is an important factor for you. Secondly, dehydrating requires some initial investment in equipment. While there are low-tech methods like sun drying or oven drying, these can be hit or miss and often don't yield the same high-quality results as a dedicated dehydrator. Despite these drawbacks, dehydrating is a valuable tool in the modern preserver's arsenal. It's a great way to take advantage of seasonal bounty, create portable snacks, and ensure you have a supply of preserved foods for emergencies or simply for convenience. Modern methods like dehydrating offer convenient and effective ways to preserve food. From freeze-drying to smoking, food preservation is an art form with a rich history. We've explored the breadth of techniques, from the high-tech freeze-drying to the age-old practices of pickling and fermenting. We've discovered the nuances of smoking, salting, and curing, and touched on modern methods like dry and water bath canning. Whether you're a survivalist or just interested in food science, understanding these methods can help you make informed decisions about food storage. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, happy preserving.